back to your employee training. To keep costs down and ambulance rides at a minimum, Ultracorp has once again put together another module for your training, and has invited me again to host it. This module is considered optional and doesn't impact your primary onboarding certification. Completion is encouraged, especially for those expecting frequent field contact and those planning to avoid surprises. In this segment, we'll be covering a range of firearms approved for commercial use, especially under Barlow law. This will include associated costs, handling characteristics, and appropriate situational context. Information has been sourced from Ultracorp's Tactical Resources Department and is current as of the latest quarterly field report. Today's recording was produced and filmed at Moses Militant Firing Range, which has generously provided space in exchange for waived liability. But without further ado, let's begin. The schedule for today's module is sorted by weapon category, increasing in price tier before moving on to the next. First, let's begin with the most common, the humble pistol. These sidearms are compact, relatively affordable, and intended for close quarters negotiation. While they may lack the stopping power, their advantages lie in speed, concealability, and cost efficiency, with one very clear exception. For early week engagements, constrained budgets, or dealmakers who prefer a lighter operational footprint, pistols continue to outperform expectations, mostly by being present at all. Now let's review each sidearm in detail, starting off with the snub. An antique in spirit and compact in nature, the Tiny T snub is a pepperbox style revolver capable of firing 3 pellets in a short scattershot spread. It's loaded cylinder by cylinder instead of round by round, which means 5 rounds per reload. Once you've spent all your ammo, you need to replace the chamber. At just $80, with extra cylinders priced at $10, it's the cheapest serious firearm available to dealmakers and one of the 2 Monday staples. But unfortunately, due to its limited range, it remains a niche pick, mostly reserved for those who plan to get very close or those who love the gun itself. But the ideal use case? Dirty deals or during defense, where sneaking up and landing close-range blasts isn't just possible, it's probable. Moving on to the hardball. Considered by many to be the all-reliable, the hardball is a classic sidearm chambered in .449, a favoured tool among seasoned dealmakers. It's sturdy, no-nonsense, and built for professionals with steady hands and quick reflexes. Each magazine carries 12 rounds, balancing decent capacity with a satisfying punch. Priced at $100 with magazines running you $10 each, it's a noticeable step up from the snub, trading the raw novelty and spread for better control, cleaner accuracy, and longer range. And of course, most dealmakers would trade that in a heartbeat. The only real weakness of the hardball is that it's exceptionally average. It gets outclassed in every single piece of equipment moving forward, but in the right hands, that hardly matters. Sleek, silent, and subtle, the Fix is a .33 caliber sidearm equipped with an integrated suppressor, ideal for those who prefer their deals discreet and their exits unannounced. With its compact frame and minimal recoil, the Fix is a perfect one-handed precision weapon, even under pressure. The magazine holds 7 rounds, which is a curious number, but enough for those who make every shot count. At $150 per weapon and $15 per magazine, the Fix is a selective investment for any day of the week. It won't win in volume, but it excels in precision and sound discipline. It should be noted that it also deals slightly more damage to the head than the hardball, making each bullet hit the head a little harder, assuming you're accurate enough to land the shots. But the ideal use case? Covert takedowns, stealth operations, and quiet acquisitions. This is a pistol for the operator and dealmaker who prefer to close deals before anybody knows what was on the table. Rounding out the pistols, let's talk about the Nock. The Nock is a Magnum class sidearm chambered in .50 caliber. It's less of a pistol and more of a glorified cannon. Designed for high-stakes scenarios where overkill isn't just allowed, it's encouraged. The Nock holds 6 ammo and fires 1 devastating round at a time, making each shot count with serious stopping power. At $1,000 and $15 per round, the Nock is a costly investment, but few things deliver a message quite as clearly. It's not about how many bullets you have, it's about making one of them end the negotiation. Its recoil? Intense, and fire rate glacial. The weight of the gun makes aiming sluggish, but its damage is unrivaled for a one-handed weapon. It's capable of breaking any limb and killing in a single blow if it hits the head or torso. But the ideal scenario for the Nock? Standoffs and intimidation plays. The Nock places itself in the perfect range between shotguns and snipers, and it's also favoured during high-value Friday operations, when you only need to win one fight quickly and decisively. Now that you've been acquainted with the available pistols, compact, personal, and suited for most standard interactions, however, there are situations where a sidearm might not be sufficient. Increased fire volume, faster engagements, or prolonged conflict might require alternative solutions. In these instances, the machine guns fill that gap. So let's begin. Sometimes subtlety comes with a kick. The Kick 10 is a compact automatic firearm chambered in 9mm, small enough to conceal and fast enough to escalate in any negotiation. Equipped with a built-in suppressor and firing from a 33-round magazine, the Kick 10 thrives in close-quarter engagements where volume is king and surprise is priceless. It comes at a modest cost of $200, with magazines priced at $20, affordable enough for midweek muscle, but not cheap enough to spray without care. Now, it's worth noting that the Kick 10 has very strong horizontal recoil, which can make it unpredictable on foot, but in vehicles, that recoil all but vanishes. The ideal use case for the Kick 10 is vehicular combat, drive-bys, fast getaways, and rolling ambushes. Its automatic fire and recoil profile make it the perfect preferred tool for anybody working behind the wheel. Just keep one hand on the wheel and the other on the trigger. Another good use case is when holding corner position before breaching. Just remember to start shooting as you turn the corner to avoid being caught in any crossfire. Sometimes a refined option is better for the career-minded dealmaker. The PK Pitch is a fully automatic submachine gun chambered in 10mm, designed for tight corridors, dense engagements, and moments when diplomacy fails quickly. The magazine carries 30 rounds and costs $30, with the weapons itself priced at $300. It's not the cheapest option, but it's a smart investment for those expecting resistance, or planning to cause it. With stable vertical recoil patterns and higher stopping power than the smaller arms, the Pitch excels in mid-range fights and hallway pressure tactics. It serves its role best during office raids, hostile recoveries, or when stability and economy are in mind. If the hardball is for problem solving, then the Pitch is for problem prevention. Now that we've covered the machine guns, the weapons built for speed, concealment, and close-range control, let's talk about sometimes that jobs demand distance, authority, precision, or at the very least the ability to make someone reconsider their position from across the street. Let's move on to the rifles. The Ruby 52 is a rifle with heritage. It's semi-automatic, chambered in 5.56. It's elegant and domineering for long-range rifle combat. With a magazine size of 10 rounds and a per-mag cost of $40, the Ruby rewards accuracy over enthusiasm. Every shot matters, and every miss is a financial setback. The rifle itself costs $400 and is nestled as a nice midweek option for a winning team. But it struggles to find a hard foothold in many dealmakers' arsenals due to it, well, when looking at how it performs similarly to the hardball, but with just longer range and a faster bullet speed. The ideal scenario for the Ruby is Overwatch duty, during outdoor negotiations or objective defense, where defense can act as its own security system. Anything close range has the Ruby become borderline useless. Moving from elegance to scrappy, the Ural 79 is not a precision instrument, it's a statement. Chambered in 7.9 and built with economy in mind, the Ural offers raw stopping power at a fraction of the typical rifle cost. At $500 for the rifle and $50 for a per 30 round magazine, it slots in neatly as a cheap late week option, where midweek pressure calls for heavier solutions, but full budget freedom hasn't quite arrived yet. But with raw power comes raw problems. The Ural's high fire rate far exceeds its own stability, resulting in severe recoil and reduced accuracy under sustained fire. Automatic use is possible, but inadvisable. Tap firing brief measured bursts is strongly recommended. It's the only way to keep the barrel pointed anywhere useful. But the ideal use case is during volatile midweek contracts, where a show of force is needed, but the books still need balancing. But if you can manage the recoil, the Ural is an affordable threat. If not, it becomes your liability. There's precise, and then there's final. The Carcosa is this description. The Carcosa is a single-shot, bolt-action sniper rifle chambered in 6.5. It doesn't fire quickly, it doesn't reload quickly, and it does not forgive misses. At $6.50 for the rifle and $25 per round, the Carcosa is a high-cost, high-impact option, easily dominating the Ruby in most aspects. Firing one round at a time with a manual reload between each shot, this is not a tool for reactionary play. It's a commitment. And of course, this isn't the Ruby. It's not for supporting your teammates or denying lanes. The Carcosa is brought in when a specific target needs to stop moving, or when you need exits locked down permanently. Best reserved for high-value targets, door and exit camping, or fear tactics. When the Carcosa is heard, you're in the palm of their hand, and when the Carcosa is seen, someone is expected to not leave alive. If sniper rifles aren't your compatibility, for those seeking control without compromising on the caliber, there's the Ace, a 7.62 automatic rifle that trades brute force for balance. Functionally, it mirrors the Ural in damage profile and range, but where the Ural bucks and kicks, the Ace holds firm. The vertical recoil is pronounced, but predictable, rewarding rhythm and control over chaos. At $700 for the weapon and $80 per magazine for a round of 20, the Ace is the Thursday to Friday pick for teams who need stopping power but can't afford to waste shots. The use case? Mid to long suppression, holdouts during drawn-out objectives, or any operation where accuracy matters more than the rate of fire. The Ace doesn't spray a message, it signs it. Not every encounter requires either multiple bullets or rapid-fire action, and not every problem stands across the street. When engagements collapse into hallways, elevators, and stairwells, precision gives way to presence. The shotgun offers immediate, brutal resolutions in confined spaces. So let's discuss. The Doppio is a break-action, twin-barreled shotgun chambered in 12 gauge. It fires 2 shells in quick succession, or one at a time, depending on your nerves. The spread is wide, but it's as simple as it is violent. 2 barrels, 2 chances, and then reload 1 shell at a time. Costing $4.50 with shells priced at $7, the Doppio fits neatly into budgets, particularly for dealmakers anticipating up-close outcomes. It lacks the sustained damage output of automatic weapon, but when the Doppio performs how it does, few things feel more decisive than unloading both barrels and walking away scot-free. The Doppio is not a tool for hesitation. It's a door opener, quite literally. And in the right hands, a room clearer. But depending on how desperate or cocky a dealmaker can get, the bigger the gun they often use. And one of the ones we're about to talk about is the biggest of them all. Last but far from least, the Jericho. The Jericho itself is a box-fed, full-caliber light machine gun chambered in 7.62, built to intimidate, shred, and decimate. Designed for sustained engagements and maximum pressure, the Jericho is the heaviest automatic weapon available to dealmakers. It chews through problems and budgets with an equal appetite. The weapon costs $900 with boxes priced at $100 for a generous 100-round feed. It's high cost, high volume, and high consequence. The recoil is significant, and the weight itself is punishing, meaning that movement speed is cut in half when using it. But that's the price of a weapon made to lock down routes using suppressive fire. The Jericho isn't a gun that you carry, it's a gun you deploy. Best used when anchoring defensive positions, denying territory, or turning choke points into dead ends. It's not subtle, it's not fast, but when you need a walking war crime during exchanges, the Jericho will gladly take the meeting. But now that we've covered the basics in all the firearms, we can move on to more specialist options. There may not be many of them, but they do still exist. These are weapons designed not for general use, but for particular roles or moments of extreme desperation. Considered by most to be a commercial failure, the POP-22 was designed by Alamont as a clean, disposable solution to gunfights. The concept was straightforward. Buy the POP-22 from a vending machine, fire 10 rounds, and throw it away. The gun, it cannot be reloaded. It doesn't jam. But that's because there's barely anything to jam. Once those 10 .22 caliber bullets are spent, it becomes a $50 paperweight. It's the epitome of a last resort, While accessible, it lacks the stopping power, reliability, or even the intimidation factor of the cheapest sidearms. In practice, it's rarely used by choice, but desperation and straggling survivors leads choices to accompany strange solutions. But if you found yourself genuinely reaching for a Pop 22, you've likely already signed your will. Sometimes words fail, and sometimes bullets aren't enough. For those moments, there are grenades. We covered these during your standard introduction, but let's go into more detail. Standard grenades are available at $750 a piece. No variants, no special models, just a metal sphere, a pin, and a very loud conclusion. They're single-use and unforgiving, effective in clearing rooms, ending standoffs, or creating space when there isn't any. The fuse delay is short. Timing and placement are everything. These are the full tools at your disposal as a dealmaker. Get acquainted with them. You might even find something resembling loyalty between the two. Knowing your weapon and knowing when not to use it can be the difference between a bad deal and a closed casket. If marksmanship isn't your strong suit, don't worry. The next modules cover alternatives to shooting your way through negotiations. This concludes the second module, arming yourself for success. Completion is optional, survival is not. Once again, on behalf of Ultracorp and myself, goodbye for now. Stay safe, keep it clean, and try not to make the next quarterly loss report. Bye-bye for now. Bye-bye.